Hello, and welcome back to Year 9 English. This is Week 9, Session 3, Fact, Opinion, Bias, and Verification. A post arrives with capital letters, a secret source, and an instruction to share it before it disappears. It feels urgent. That feeling is exactly the moment when a careful reader slows down. Today, our key idea is verification. By the end, you will be able to read the material closely, test what its evidence really proves, and communicate a careful judgment of your own. Let's begin. 4 goals. First, distinguish observed fact, interpretation, opinion, and unsupported assertion. Second, check who produced a claim, when, and whether the evidence can be inspected. Third, explain how loaded words and degrees of certainty guide judgment. And fourth, write and speak only with the certainty the current evidence allows. Keep that final goal in view. Strong English does not stop at spotting a feature. It explains what the feature allows a reader or listener to understand. Let's define the central term. Verification means the process of checking a claim against reliable, relevant, and independent evidence. Media literacy is not the belief that every source is deceptive. It is a disciplined process of checking who made a claim, what evidence is offered, whether the evidence can be traced, when it was produced, and whether independent sources agree. Fact and opinion are not always opposites. An opinion may be well-reasoned and evidence-based. A factual statement may be false. Bias means a systematic tendency or perspective, not simply a viewpoint the reader dislikes. Selection, framing, and omission can produce bias even when every quoted sentence is accurate. Slow down before sharing emotionally charged claims, especially when a post uses urgency, anonymous authority, or a screenshot without context. Now correct 3 common misconceptions. First, a formal source is automatically true. The correction is this: authority supports checking but does not replace evidence. Second, bias means a source contains opinions. Instead, bias can appear through selection, framing, and omission in factual reporting. Third, theft. Skepticism means rejecting every claim. Remember, responsible skepticism withholds judgment until evidence is checked. Our working method is simple. Pause, identify the claim, trace the source, inspect the evidence, then compare independent accounts. Here is the core material, titled The Viral Water Claim. Listen for the difference between what is claimed, what is actually supported, and how the wording guides attention. Post A. Urgent. The school's water is unsafe. My cousin's friend works near the council and says a secret test found dangerous levels of chemicals. The school refuses to tell us. Share this before they delete it. Post B. At 10:20 this morning, the school closed 2 fountains after a routine maintenance check showed unusual discoloration in one pipe. The site manager said samples had been sent to an accredited laboratory, and bottled water would be available until results were received. No result has yet established that the water is chemically unsafe. The school published the maintenance notice, sampling time, and contact details on its official page. Comment: Post B is obviously a cover-up because it uses formal language. That is the complete material. Before we analyze it, hold on to one question. What can we verify from the words in front of us, and what would still need checking? First reading. Post A gives us hearsay, a cousin's friend, a secret test, and no document we can inspect. Post B gives a time, an observed pipe problem, an action taken, and a test still in progress. Post B does not say that the water is safe. It says that chemical danger has not yet been established. The comment offers no new evidence at all. The main idea is this: Post A makes an alarming, weakly sourced claim, while Post B separates an observed maintenance concern from unconfirmed chemical risk. Now the key word, accredited. It means officially recognized as meeting required standards. An accredited laboratory is more checkable than an unnamed person, but its later result must still be read rather than assumed. Literal reading gives us the floor of the analysis. It tells us what the text actually says before we infer motive, bias, or effect. Now infer. The urgent sharing request in Post A encourages action before verification and may exploit fear. Which quotation best anchors that judgment? We could use my cousin's friend, secret test, sampling time, and contact details. Each matters, but the strongest evidence is share this before they delete it. That imperative asks the reader to distribute the claim first and evaluate it later. Predicted deletion also turns any missing evidence into apparent proof of conspiracy. The wording tries to make delay feel dangerous. The best evidence is not always the most dramatic phrase. It is the detail that most securely connects the claim to the reasoning. Now the method. Framing and loaded language. Look closely at secret test. Refuses. Delete it. Secret suggests hidden authority. Refuses assigns deliberate obstruction, and delete it predicts suppression. None of those words supplies the test, the author, the date, or the measured result. Together they build a conspiracy frame around an evidence gap. The effect is this. The words imply conspiracy without traceable evidence, making uncertainty feel like proof. Avoid the empty sentence. This makes the reader want to read on. Name the precise expectation, judgment, or relationship the language creates. 3 connected judgments. Tone. Alarmist in Post A and cautious in Post B. Post A compresses uncertainty into certainty. Post B repeatedly marks the boundary between observation and result. Structure. Post A moves from anonymous hearsay to urgent sharing. Post B separates observation, action, and current uncertainty. The comment mistakes register for evidence. One sequence accelerates the reader. The other slows the claim into stages that can be checked. And purpose, to practice evaluating source traceability, certainty, and framing. Tone, structure, and purpose are not 3 disconnected labels. The structure controls when information arrives, that sequence shapes the tone, and both serve the purpose. Now test the alternative. Post B is more verifiable, but readers should still inspect the official notice and later laboratory result rather than accept it automatically. More credible does not mean guaranteed true. Responsible skepticism is even-handed. It asks what can be checked, whoever makes the claim. Here is a strong thesis. Post B is currently more credible because it identifies actions, timings, and a checkable source while clearly limiting what has not yet been established. Now prove it. Post A relies on a cousin's friend who works only near the council, so the source cannot be identified or evaluated. Its command, share this, comes before any traceable result and uses predicted deletion to make absence of evidence seem conspiratorial. Post B, by contrast, separates discoloration from chemical danger and states that no result has yet established risk. This cautious modality does not prove the account true, but it makes verification possible through times, samples, and contact details. Notice the sequence: a precise quotation, a named language or structural choice, an explanation of its effect, and a return to the argument. That is analysis, not feature spotting. Now, grammar, modality, and evidential language. Words such as confirmed, reported, may, allegedly, and according to show source and certainty. Responsible writing matches its language to the available evidence. Here is the question: which sentence uses appropriate evidential language before test results are available? The answer is, the discoloration may indicate a problem, but the cause has not yet been confirmed. The sentence separates possibility from confirmation. Now combine the thinking. Which sentence best summarizes the verified position? The strongest sentence is, 2 fountains were closed after discoloration was observed and laboratory results were still pending. It reports confirmed action and continuing uncertainty without speculation. Grammar matters here because it controls certainty, agency, emphasis, and the exact relationship between ideas. Let's transfer the method. Read the claim. A screenshot says, scientists prove homework destroys memory, but gives no author, date, study, or publication. What is the best first action? Pause and decide. Here is the answer. Search for the original study or a reputable report before accepting or sharing the claim. Traceability comes before evaluation. Now recap. 1. Verification is a process, not a feeling. 2. A factual sounding sentence can still be false. 3. Framing and omission can create bias. 4. Modality should match the strength of the evidence. 5. Pause before sharing emotionally urgent claims. Your independent task is this. Create a verification checklist for the 2 posts, then write a 120-word update reporting only what is known and what remains unknown. For speaking practice, run a newsroom verification meeting. Decide what can be published now, what still needs checking, and what degree of certainty is justified. You have done serious, careful work today. Head to bridge2exam.com to practice with instant feedback and take the final exam when you are ready. Next time, Session 28, Journalism, Headlines and Framing.